Joining me now, former White House trade advisor and author of Taking Back Trump's America, Peter Navarro. Always good to see you, sir. And Russia is weaponizing their energy. Wouldn't it be great if the United States were able to, I don't know, help our European friends? Sadly, Joe Biden and his Democrats, they're conducting a war on American energy producers, so we can't help, can we?
Chris, Europe laid the predicate for this for the last 20 years by making it possible, in every way possible, to rely on Russia gas. I mean, well, what do you think's going to happen, Germany, when you go about building pipelines over to Russia? This is a really interesting test of the international monetary system. My fear, and this goes back to when I was in the Trump administration, is that as we use sanctions and push Russia and China to do things we want them to do, they even faster move away from using the dollar as a standard of currency. So clearly what Russia is doing is try to de-dollarize their economy by pressuring the Europeans. They're going to fold, Chris. Europeans are going to fold. They as soon as their gas bills go up or their lights go out, they're going to bow to Russia. The bigger solution here, and Donald Trump had it, was to take the Saudi Arabia of fracking, Pennsylvania, and other states like Texas and North Dakota, and return the United States to strategic energy dominance and import independence, and help Europe and other of our allies like Japan, which is facing a similar kind of crisis in terms of energy, basically have strong economies resistant to the pressures of the Chinese communists and the Russians.
Yeah, well, Biden made sure that we couldn't do anything about it, maybe at the behest of those foreign countries. That make sure that, exactly, the first day he did that, and he did so, I believe, at the behest of these foreign dictators who seem to have Joe Biden in their pocket. Speaking of Biden, he's sending $33 billion more in aid to Ukraine, all while the American taxpayer is suffering under Biden's economy that is one negative quarter away, Mr. Navarro, from recession.
Yes.
This is what Trump warned us about. Democrats put America last, always, don't they?
Can you imagine, Chris, if we put $33 billion to our own southern border, which, as you correctly pointed out, is under invasion right now? I mean, why are we spending so much money on the Ukrainian border dispute with Russia when we're having the worst invasion in our history, Chris? In our history. And this whole thing with the DHS guy saying, oh, it's not our fault, we don't have the infrastructure, we inherited a mess. No. I was in the White House. I had a major role in stopping illegal immigration with Pat Cipollone, the White House legal counsel. We said, slap tariffs on Mexico and the Northern Triangle. If they don't close that border, guess what, Chris? They shut it. We solved the problem. And one of the first things that Biden did, besides canceling the Keystone Pipeline and creating an energy crisis, was canceling the safe third nation clauses we had that firm the border. This is a Biden-inflicted, Biden-induced disaster I mean, look, your open was frighteningly beautiful because it hit every nail on the head of what we're up against. And to have a president who is so mentally incapacitated is absolutely frightening. But it's not like we weren't warned. I warned about it. It's like guy was in the basement. Get him out of the basement. Let him speak. You know, they drugged him up for a few debates and he sounded lucid and was like, oh, he's fine. No.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. And I cannot fathom how this country tolerates a Democrat Party that has gone completely to the dark side, to left-wing collectivism and communism and socialism. Meantime, speaking of somebody who is all in on communism, China, they're teamed up with the #1 state sponsor of terrorism, Iran. They vowed to step up what they call defense cooperation, including more military drills. Now, China already conducting military exercises with Russia. I call all three of those nations the axis of oppression. Do you see Biden doing anything to combat the danger those three countries pose?
What Biden is doing is pushing them together, even as he's weakening the United States and letting them have their way with us. The Iranian-China relationship is likewise about energy, Chris. I don't know if you know this, but Iran has like the largest natural gas fields in the world. And long ago, China entered into a deal essentially with Iran and said, hey, we'll buy your gas, Iran. In exchange, we'll make sure that you never get sanctions at the United States, United Nations, because China has the veto, and we'll have your back whenever you do your terrorism. And to take it full circle to your open, it's like the idea that a high-ranking government U.S. official would say that mothers and fathers defending their children at school boards are the biggest threat in terms of terrorism against the backdrop of 9/11. I mean, it's like, who are these people, Chris? Who are these people?
It's frightening. As you said, it is frightening. U.S. economy, here's something else. A severe drop in the first quarter, as we've all been talking about today, negative 1.4%. Here's what Biden had to say about this report.
I'm not concerned about a recession. And I mean, you're always concerned about a recession, but the GDP, fell to 1.4%. But here's the deal. We're also had last quarter consumer spending and business investment and residential investment increased at significant rates, both for leisure as well as hard products.
Now, every economist I'm talking to, Peter, says that we've got no choice but to go into a recession because Democrats have so poorly managed this economy that's all we can do to get inflation under control. How does communist China fit in with all of this heading into recession as the United States is?
Yeah, look, when I was in the Trump administration for 4 years, the boss and I preached the gospel that trade deficits matter. When you run a trade deficit with China, you basically mean you're sending your jobs there and you're losing jobs here. This GDP growth report, right, the minus 1.4% growth rate, if we had balanced trade instead of a more than $1 trillion trade deficit, we would have grown by 2%. Most of that trade, Chris, most of that trade deficit with communist China, and worst of all, the money we spend in the Walmarts and the big box retailers, they fund the Chinese military defense budget, which has been rising dramatically. So this is how this all fits in. And when Joe Biden says, last quarter we had robust consumer spending, he's not telling you that inflation is driving real wages down. And going forward, people aren't going to have the purchasing power to drive consumption up. That's recession. He's an idiot. His economic advisors are an idiot. They were idiots during Obama, Biden, and Lord, do we miss Donald Trump.